Hello and welcome to episode 3 of our video series. I'm Ryan Fring. We've got Jeff Bell, our lead editor, here with us today.
Hi, how you doing?
Madalena Zimmerman, digital strategist and producer.
What's up?
I'm leaving for Florida in like an hour. But real quick, we're going to talk about writing and editing, two sides of the same coin, how that's different, what you do, what's different than other editors. And I say that kind of comically because we've worked with you for several years now, and I don't think we always realize how much work you put into things. Because, for instance, when we work with other people and they ask a lot of questions, we're like, oh, just Jeff figures it out. You know,
this is usually a step Jeff just does. Why are you not doing this? Come on.
We're like, here, there's a sheet with 5 bullet points. Like, that's your direction. But yeah, I wanted to talk with you maybe a little bit more about that and see your perspective, because you are a writer as well. We're working on a commercial now, actually a short film that you wrote, which I'm really excited about. It's going to be awesome.
I'm excited too, actually.
I think it's one of the bigger projects that you've ever written for us. But full time, you're also our editor, doing a lot of that stuff. And I really do think that they're very similar. Hence the topic that I created for this episode.
It's a good thing that you created it and I'm a writer at the same time, because otherwise it would have been super embarrassing.
We'll talk a little bit about that, because when I first mentioned it earlier, you were like, okay, but now you seem like you've thought about it a little bit more, and yeah, just go, just tell me a little bit more.
I've given some thought about it, and it is very true. I mean, if you do look at writing and editing, there is a lot of common thread between the two of them. I mean, in the end, both of them, you're creating a story. Even if you're editing like a 60-second commercial, that's got a bunch of real, like if it's like a man on the street commercial, just thinking of a previous project of ours, it's a random people that are just giving answers. You're still trying to find a way to take those random answers and put them together to form a story, even if it's just as simple of a story as, I don't know about this product, now I know about this product,
right?
I want the product. Like, it's a very simple, that's still a story. You have a beginning, a middle, and end, and you have ways of trying to engage the viewer or the reader of your book or your movie or whatever it is that you're writing. I kind of took writing as any kind of writing that's out there.
That's fair.
It was
writing is writing.
Writing is writing,
yeah.
And it's not the same as writing.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Nobody likes writing.
Madalena.
I love to write.
Well, then why did you need me?
I know. We just pivot.
It's not about me.
But no, so no matter what you try to do, you're trying to find ways to engage the audience. You take writing, and the way that I look at it, like the biggest comparison is that if you're trying to write something, whether it's a movie or if it's a book or if it's a short story, it doesn't matter what you're trying to write. You're in your head, you've got countless places, just like a castle, a spaceship, a dock, doesn't matter. You have all these ideas for locations. You have these characters, you have these random concepts and these random ideas that you then try to find a way to organize in order to tell a coherent story. And editing definitely comes down to that exact same concept, where it's like, well, I have 6 establishing shots of buildings, I have a handful of people, and they all say different things, and it's trying to take what they said and order it in a way that it makes sense, or it tells a very quick or a very long form story. It doesn't just depends upon which way you'd want to go with the project. Right,
and that's I think that's very unique to you and very unique here, because we have worked with other editors, and at some point, it's really, really great. They can be very, very fast, but at some point, my involvement as a creative director or director, I'm like, oh, I'll just edit it. I'll just do it. Whereas when we work with you, for that man on the street, I was like, okay, here's 5 questions that sound like we could put them together and it could be an interesting
And you did it in that voice,
and
too.
You're like, okay, I have several hours of footage to go through. And I was like, good luck. And you're like, thanks.
But then being a writer does help in situations like that, because I started looking through a lot of that footage, and I'm like, okay, I know what I need them to say. Like, I look at the questions and I realize, okay, this is the answer we're looking for. We need them to be confident. We need them to be happy. We need them to be, positive, because we want the overall tone, which would be like your overall arc of a story or of a film. We want it to be this. We want it to be a positive experience. We want the audience to walk away knowing this. So in order for them to know this, we have to get them to say this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to kind of look at like a big picture from a story point of view, I can then go through going, nope, their tone was not correct in that one. I don't need that one. Nope, that one's not right. Oh, that one's good. I like this one because they were very enthusiastic about that. And overall, that's the correct tone and the correct direction. Oh, and I know that their answer will fit in really well if I can get somebody saying this. And so I kind of, in my head, I'm writing the spot as I would have liked to see it, and then I try to find people who are saying stuff similarly.
Right.
So instead of just going, oh, that sounds good. Oh, okay, that's kind of good.
Yeah.
And just plopping them together.
Oh, this shot, that shot. Okay,
Right.
done. Here's your edit.
Here's your edit. And it's like, well, yeah, it's the edit.
Right.
But it's missing something, or it doesn't. It seems a little disjointed, because I've definitely seen. No, I'm nobody specific, but I've seen over the years like commercials, even on television, where I'm like that. They could have done it like this, and that would have been a much more compelling commercial or ad on YouTube or anything like that, because it's the same thing.
So what is better, or what has influenced the other? Has your writing work and development and learning affected your editing, or your editing as that's evolved, has that affected your writing?
For the most part, actually, a lot of it, when I started here, a lot of my writing skills helped my editing skills, because I'd already known how. I mean, I'm not saying like I'm a world-renowned writer in any
You are.
any
But I'm not saying I'm not.
capacity. But at the same time,
not.
I'm not. Let me just get my Peabody Award. I don't think that's a writing award. I just named it an award.
Yeah, for time travel.
For time travel, because I'm a Sherman.
Yeah.
So no, but I think I came into it like having knowledge and having written for years, and that helped me look at the any kind of project as a story, and that's exactly how I look at it. And so that definitely did have a huge influence when I started. My editing has gotten better because I have just over the years, I've just gotten better at it and more efficient at it, and I've learned what works and what doesn't work because I have had experience with clients and individuals and seen what their reactions are and your guys' reactions and just everybody, and I can see like, oh, so when I do this, this is the result.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this type of a story, and I kind of start piecing it together, and then I've taken that over into my writing again when it comes to like shorts and when it comes to web series, or even because I do write like novellas and stuff like that on occasion. So it's all writing in the end. And now I know, based upon if I go this route when I've done through editing, if I do that same kind of thing when I'm writing actual stuff, I know that I'm actually kind of cutting people off at the pass. I'm cutting off that round of, well, this works, but that doesn't work, by just going, I know this works.
Yeah, right.
So I kind of knocked out a revision or draft on some written story.
Yeah.
Because I've known what editing can do to a story.
Yeah, well, and that's maybe we need to generalize this blog and this talk to just storytelling. Because writing, editing, it's all storytelling, and the mediums are different,
Right.
and so there's different tools you can use, but it's all storytelling, and I think that's why you've been so great at editing and storytelling for us, because you've had that writing experience, and then you can take those great stories that you've been telling in that other medium, and you can do the same thing in a different medium. Are there any other mediums that you storytell in, like clay?
I'm an expert clay. I build
Beard art?
Beard art or beard art? Beard art. Well, this is gonna grow, and I'm gonna start shaving letters into it eventually, and that'll be a story.
Like Madalena, just a name.
Just a really long.
It's the longest name that we have. Yeah.
They're like, why does your beard say mad? Yeah. Well, that's as far as I got.
That'd be an epic birthday gift.
And I realized
For
I was
him
just,
or for you?
Like just to
now
come to work.
forever, it just says mad here.
Storytelling of the beard.
Storytelling of the beard.
Yeah.
That will be my autobiography.
Storytelling.
I like that name.
I like that. Yeah.
That's a great name.
Copyright that right now.
I did it. It's on here.
Trademark. We sent it in the mail.
We sent me saying that in the mail. We sent this hard drive in the mail
On a beta
to
tape.
myself.
Yeah.
And it's postage, so it's not mine. Whoa,
that was awesome. That was like the longest. We're gonna put that over your dancing. So you're dancing right now, and we're just hearing yeah.
Sometimes, again, I've said this.
Talking is hard.
Talking is so difficult.
Oh.
Editing and writing is
Life.
so easy to
Yeah.
me.
What was
Yeah.
the thing with Phantom of the Opera? You're so confident. You're like, oh, I'm
It's
singing.
the Phantom. The Phantom.
Phantom.
You're very
Phantom of the
I
Opera
sometimes
White
speak with lip.
the Phantom.
Selectively.
You say the
Just the Theo.
You speak with the Thetheo. It's a Spanish thing that they have, like in Spain.
Yeah, ¿cómo
España.
estás?
A
mi
Thetheo.
amigo?
It's the front of the lips or the back of the teeth.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's what is it? Es una
Despacito.
experiencia religiosa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spellium Revolta.
That did sound like Harry Potter.
A little bit. It came off a little Harry
Spanish
Potter.
is witchcraft.
And you've heard it here today, everybody, that Spanish is witchcraft. Thank you
So
very much for
back on-
joining.
See, this is the
And-
problem. You and I, like, we've done the other podcasts so much that we get into that other podcast tone. This is real serious stuff here. We got to get real serious, put our serious hat on. My serious hat's over there for design purposes.
Mine is always on.
What do you... That's the
I
most
realized
awkward
I
thing you
could've-
done.
So yep.
Do you have
that's
other
good. That's a good
storytelling
You can tell. I mean, there are other forms besides. Are you talking like besides writing?
that you do? Yeah.
I mean, I do. For the most part, my storytelling generally is of the visual medium. Like I will do my shorts, but I did do like audio, like dramas
That's
for
right.
a little while, and like a podcast for a little while. That was all audio based in the style of like an old time radio show.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting about that was that it's still editing,
Mm-hmm.
kind of in a way. It's still writing in a way, but it's writing just audio.
Mm-hmm.
Not writing visual, and not being able to rely on a visual medium,
Right.
because now it's a whole new way of writing, a whole new way of editing. Because I had to
Yeah,
do
it's
sound
not
mixes
like a
to it.
book where you can describe the scene. It's not a
Right.
movie where you can show the scene.
Right. You had to have people telling you the scene, or you hearing the scene
Yeah.
without it dramatically being, "My, look at that giant rock over there. We
Yeah.
should walk towards that rock," which
Yeah.
obviously the character is standing upon.
Let
Like,
me join you as we walk together over this uneven ground.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
this rocky surface is comfortable for your feet,
Yeah.
because it is killing
What a
these
nice
loafers.
tweed suit you're wearing in this forest here.
My fedora agrees. But like,
Be good at that.
I could have kept going for a
Yeah.
while. But like that one, that was definitely a different creature and a different just form of writing that I had never done before, and
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely a form of storytelling that's very unique and very on its own. And I highly recommend anybody who is a writer or even an editor to try to edit something that is just
That's
audio
great.
based.
Yeah.
We had
And
to do that in
still
school.
make it make sense. Like that's key, because if you can, you could take any video project.
Mm-hmm.
You in theory should be able to cut a version that's just audio
Mm.
and have that video still make sense. Yeah, you're not going to get all the pretty visuals,
Yeah, right.
but if you can make that audio make sense and you still get the point of it, then just adding visuals onto it is just
Right.
it's just like an extra layer of icing on there.
Right. Well, and that speaks to, restriction, which I feel like constraints can really create better art.
Mm-hmm.
Given young director who had this indie hit that you spent $5,000 on, we want you to direct the next Marvel property or DC property, and then you see something that is not good, not representative of that director or that artist.
Right.
And I feel like, there's a couple things going on there. One, they're just not in an environment that they're used to, like the studio environment or big corporate production environment. But two is that, what do you want? Yeah, okay, we'll just buy it, or we'll rent it, or we'll hire it, or
Right.
we'll, anything you want, we can have money for. Instead of you having to think more creatively, okay, is this necessary to my story?
Right.
Does it pass the couple tests? Necessary to the story? If we got rid of it, would it change anything? Those are kind of two different questions. Can we produce it with what we have? Or what would it take? And once you've gone through an assessment like that, then you can really fine tune what you're doing. And I think that thoughtfulness really comes out, and you see that in freshman efforts. And then, you go on to make a big giant film, and we see those kind of flop because of this combination of things. So I love restrictions and constraints, and that's kind of one of the first questions I ask in a creative meeting. I'm like, okay, what constraints do we have?
Right. What can we and cannot do?
Exactly,
where's
yeah.
our ruling? Well, and I generally ask you guys that same question
Yeah.
when it comes to the editing. It's like, okay, who's this for?
Yeah.
How long is it supposed to be? Because these are constraints in the
Yeah,
editing
absolutely.
world of like, well, this can only be a 3-minute video. You gave me 4 hours of footage. It can only be a 3-minute video. Make it work. Okay, great. That's fine. You've limited to me, so then I can start editing myself and knowing what do I need and what do I not
Right.
need. One of the big things that I was thinking about, not to jump on any question you were possibly leading to, but you said constraints in that,
Yeah.
and realizing
That
what
was
you
good.
can and cannot do led me
I'm
there.
leading to this. It's all organic.
Fantastic.
and authentic.
And is this organic? Is these organic candy corns?
Yeah.
'Cause-
It's made of real candied corn.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Pull.
What are you going to say about constraints or?
No, so the constraints of editing being knowing that time limit that I have, because generally when I go into any kind of editing or even writing, the general rule of thumb, and I know we discussed this, the general rule of thumb is you're always supposed to just kind of like first pass, just get everything down, get like, okay, here's everything I can think of that works here, and that could be a good transition. Here's everything else. You do that for writing. They always recommend that when you write a script, to just write it all down, get it all down. Do not worry about editing until you have that first draft.
Get it out of your brain.
Get it out of your brain, because the longer you delay yourself from getting it all out, the more you're going to start fixing and critiquing and tweaking and changing. And then by the time you get to the end of it, if you even do.
And real quick, that's something we say in interviews, right? Because people try to edit themselves as they're talking, and it's the worst. When they're just free flowing, we can help control it and move it, and then we know that you'll have enough to cut. But it's exactly the same thing when we're talking to somebody. Like, don't get in your head. Just talk.
Just talk
go.
and let
just
it
get
go.
it all out.
Trust me, I'm not going to make you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
I will make you sound fantastic. You already sounded great in the interview. I'm going to make you sound just as good as you
We're gonna make you better.
I want to make you better.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. Is that our new tagline?
Yeah. We're gonna make you better.
We're gonna make you better, baby.
Yeah.
But that whole process of writing and just getting it all in the first draft, I do the exact same thing with editing. And then I'm like, all right, it's an 8-minute long video. I know it's got to be 3 minutes long. That's fine. I know I have everything I could possibly want for it. Now let's try to find those little beats. And they say both these two people say the same thing. I don't need both of these. Let's just pick the better one. That's the better one. Boom, that's out, and slice it down. When we're condensing it down. And I've done that so many times in writing scripts where I've written a script. It's 25 pages long. Oh, but these 3 scenes are the exact same thing, and I really don't need. We could just take this line from here and this line from here and throw it in the first one, and we just condensed 6 pages out of the story because it was just extra fluff. It was the same thing over and over again, and so I found myself doing that same kind of method in everything I do, and knowing that, having that mentality of going, yep, that's everything. Let's just make it leaner and tighter and faster.
Make it work better.
And they ultimately come out fantastic.
Yeah.
In my head.
Yeah. Well, I think you can see too, that care and that thoughtfulness that goes into it is great, because you start with something big, and then hopefully, that 8 minutes, you have to cut out good things.
Yeah.
Right? From good to great. We cut out a lot of good stuff, and then we have that little great piece afterwards.
Right.
And it doesn't happen unless you can get it all out in that first pass or pull it together in that edit.
And with writing, they always say that the big thing for any kind of screenplay writer or even novel writers or short story, doesn't matter, but they always say that you have to learn to cut your babies or kill your babies. I don't remember what the actual term is for it, but it's the whole mentality of that. You may absolutely love this scene and be like, this is the scene that I wrote the whole thing on, but once you get that all done, you look at it, you went, oh no, that doesn't work at all. And it's so bad that I have to get rid of you, but I have to because everything else is so much better than you had envisioned.
And that can be hard, right? Because I feel like that's all storytelling, because I do that as well when shooting or directing. I'm like, this is the most important thing that I thought we were doing. And then you see it and you're like, that doesn't fit. Yeah. I'm going to save that over here for a reel. Yep. But it doesn't fit. It doesn't make the message stronger. It makes it maybe less strong. It's got to go, even though, it maybe took extra effort and I thought it'd be good. And that's part of the process too, like trial and error, like learning. Right. Hey, well, I think this is going to be best. And if it's not, that's great. We're going to pull it out and we're going to make it better, you know, because there's artists have an ego because we want to create something for the world, like world, you want to watch my thing or you want to read my thing. So there's a little bit there, but it's not in a bad way. And so being able to then cut something like that really shows, I think, maturity as an artist to be able to say, I wanted this, but it's not working. Right. It's got to go, and not doubling down and being stubborn and being egotistical.
And there's definitely those times as an editor or even as a writer where when I'm like, I have to get rid of this, occasionally I'll be like, is there any way I could kind of use this elsewhere? Like, can I put that shot maybe here instead? Or could I maybe put that line of dialogue into another character later on just to keep it? And sometimes that works and a lot of times it doesn't. Right. But yeah, it goes back to what you're saying. Being able to know that, yes, you have to make it be, for overall, it's best if you get rid of it entirely. Right. or knowing to how to edit and maintain that overall story. That's key.
Yeah, that's great. Madalena, you look like you're burning to ask a question. Or say something. Looks like you're on the uptick from that sugar crash.
Gosh, I'm really feeling it. It's weird.
Let's see it.
Great stuff so far.
Great. Well, I think that's kind of where we can wrap it up. That
Sweet.
feels really good. We really explored this kind of subject of storytelling, how writing and editing are very similar.
As any kind of good editor and storyteller would have done, he came into the scene and changed everything from you.
Good news, nothing's been written or titled yet, so we can
Fantastic.
change everything.
Everything will be changed.
Welcome to the digital world.
Well, George Lucas it.
Oh, can you put
Do you want a digital creature walking across the
like
desk
the
right
slug,
now?
the slug crawling across? I said it in a later episode, I think. We used to make Jeff do this on a different podcast. It's awesome. He's going to do it right there. Little slug.
That's what I did. That's all I always
He
did.
George Lucas it.
Always.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for coming and talking.
Thanks for letting me talk and
about this
ramble.
stuff.
And then go. Blah, 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 blah,
Next
blah.
time we'll spend more time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
By like a minute?
But I don't know.
Like a little bit more
When
time?
I don't have to go to Florida. in like a half an
I hate
hour.
when I just randomly have to up and go to
Yeah.
Florida. That happens like every other Tuesday.
Is that douchey? I'm not trying to be douchey. It's just
It's like,
literally
I'm sorry,
what's happening.
I have to go to Florida in
Yeah.
10 minutes. I'm out.
Yeah.
Peace. That's
to,
not
to
douchey.
work really long days.
Yeah, I was
so.
going to say, you have to go work. I don't.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This was episode 3, I believe. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 3. Next week, we're going to talk with Philip Hitu about authenticity and branding. And then after that, it's about partnership and the difference between that and the normal client-vendor relationship. So thanks for watching, listening, or reading, and we'll see you next time.